On this Deltarune survey, over 2,000 people rated what they thought about over 300 Deltarune theories. My co-host and I have ratings along with text responses and old theories just to look back on. Which theories were liked? Why were some theories even made? What did they think about?
So for this category, it's gonna be about Susie. Just a few Susie theories. It's all about her. And she doesn't really have that many theories compared to like some of the other categories. Or even like Kris or Ralsei.
Yeah, when it comes to like main characters and even less like stuff in general, Susie generally has the least amount of theories overall. A big part of this is because Susie is just like an outsider to the town. So she has no connections to any of like the backstory and like the lore regarding deaths and stuff like that. And so a lot of the theories are even just like trying to make guesses regarding her backstory. But even that stuff is relatively inconsequential, you know? Probably won't ever get like fully addressed in the story, just kind of like teased and hinted at.
Maybe it will, maybe it might.
Making a super big deal out of it, you know?
So, the first theory we have here is Susie has a bad home life. Do you want to give an explanation for this one?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just like Susie has a bad home life. I don't even really know what else there is to explain about it.
I mean, okay. This theory proposes that Susie doesn't have like the best upbringing of sorts, and just due to what she's going through at her home life, she inhibits the negative behaviors of whatever parental figures she has, or she's not really living in the best conditions or whatever. We see her not really wanting to call her parents or whatever at the end of chapter 2. We also have Susie connecting really strongly with Lancer, and he has like not the best father, and you know that could work as kind of like a parallel, just like how Queen is like a parallel to Noelle's mom. And as we can see here, it is pretty well liked, overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, it seemed like obvious subtext for people, and it seems like from the new chapters we got, it seems like she's like more of like an orphan or whatever. What exactly were the details?
She's probably like an orphan and is like going through the foster system, and that's why she goes from like town to town and stuff. Doesn't stay in one place for long, because she mentions that in like chapter 4, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it might not be exactly what some people might have proposed back in like chapter 2, but it is close enough. She doesn't have like the ideal home life she preferred she would have. She probably looks at someone like Kris and
I think specifically regarding like the orphan stuff, because Kris is also adopted, and since she's like a foster kid and whatnot, Susie is likely jealous of Kris having like a full-time adopted family who's like the parents actually care about them and they're fully adopted. Unlike Susie, who's just like getting tossed around between families and stuff in like the foster system. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so it seems like it wasn't entirely true, but you know, it doesn't seem like it was entirely true, but it's pretty close. It's a little different, right?
No, it's the same exact thing.
You think so? I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess it depends.
It's the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people are a little picky on how specific things need to be. Like, no, it wasn't exactly how you said it was gonna be, which means you were 100% wrong. You know, some people can be like that.
Yeah, those people are dumb.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the fact that it's like guys. Like, when it comes to like theories and shit, this isn't fucking darts. This is horseshoes and hand grenades, right? It's like, it's okay to just be close, and that's still a W. You're never gonna get everything with 100% accuracy. That's absurd. That's like an absurd standard to like hold someone to, you know?
Fair.
Especially when they're getting to extra specifics just for the sake of, you know, fun, to like make the theory a bit more fleshed out, even though they know that becoming more specific, you know, opens it up to being less likely to be like true in those specifics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with this theory. This is just general theory stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I've not seen any people be toxic to this theory. But we'll get to other theories like that at our other points. So yeah. The next theory is that Susie is from a human community. Susie being from a human community would help parallel her with Kris even more, with Susie seeing herself in Kris and possibly treating them differently because of that fact that they're a human. We have like Susie hiding her tail, maybe like being embarrassed of the fact that she's a monster because she's from a human community. And we also have her being like or kind of aggressive, which could also show it the opposite way that she's embracing her monster side and to reject that she came from a human community. And
Maybe I
this
don't know.
one's
The game. It kind of seems like it's implied by the game that she just came from a bunch of different communities throughout her life.
well, yeah,
She's just moved around a lot.
oh yeah, but that's with the new chapters. So
Yeah.
this one's not as well received as the previous one, but it's
It was
fine.
it
It's
was
more in the
decently
middle.
well received, just not like super loved. It wasn't
Yeah,
like tens, which makes sense
yeah.
because it's like
It's very in the middle.
there definitely
People
was
say
not enough evidence to like confidently give it a 10,
yeah. People say
but it
that
was sound enough to give it a 7.
yeah. Not all people are saying it would be bad or confusing or disappointing. Just most people say they wouldn't care. Some people say they wouldn't be surprised either. One thing that people brought up a
Yeah.
lot from like text responses was that Kris will probably be the only human we'll see. And that probably has to do with the fact with the meta role that humans have in Deltarune and Undertale. They usually take on like the role of being who we like control in whatever ways. And seeing different humans would kind of clash with that. I think this could still be true even with that in mind. We just never see the other humans. We just learn that she's from a human community. But like you said, there isn't really a lot of evidence to really put this high up. Like some people said, great speculation, but probably irrelevant to the game. Some other people said like unnecessary lore to main story. Interesting paralleler to Kris, but that's it. Highly doubt, but could be interesting. Toby doesn't tend to use elaborate backstories as story twists. That's something one person said. How do you feel about that? Is that really true? Is that
I don't even think that's true.
yeah?
Nor would it even necessarily matter if Toby hasn't done something in the past. It doesn't mean he can't do it in the future.
Yeah.
But
This isn't really a bad
anyway.
theory. I didn't really have anything much against it. It's just that there's like little evidence and some of the meta themes kind of hold it down from getting more positive ratings from other people. The next theory is Susie has no home. Now we're back to more positive ratings, but it's not like
Yes.
overwhelmingly
Okay.
positive.
I have to ask you this. What did you put as the description for this one? How did this get like this high of ratings where everyone was giving it 7 and 8s and 9s and 10s? Like how come nobody put it at like 1, 2, or 3? How the hell did Susie is homeless get this high ratings?
You're actually baffled by it.
Yeah, like what the fuck? How is this popular? It's so obviously not right.
Like yeah, some people were skeptical of it. Some people were like some of the text responses were like would raise questions about hometown's social services situation. How would she be able to trick the school without any kind of guardian? That would make Toriel and Alphys terrible people. Yeah, it is. It's weird. I'll read exactly what I wrote. After
Okay.
Toriel tells Susie to call her parents to say she's staying over, she doesn't. It could be because she has no one to call home to. It would explain why she acts like a rebel. She wasn't taught how to behave by that many people, so she mostly just lives alone or whatever.
This is also like
like
pretty strongly like against like not implied, especially within the new chapters.
yeah.
It's pretty heavily implied that Susie just lives in one of the apartments,
Yeah, probably.
specifically in the third building to the
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so this one was just wrong.
Because whenever you go there with Susie, she's like, Kris, I thought we were going to your house.
Yeah. I didn't hate this one, but yeah, it doesn't really
I'm
make
just
too much
surprised. I'm
sense.
just surprised that this one is just so much more overwhelmingly positive than like Susie from a human community is.
Yeah, I mean, is CC from a human community? Could that
Because
still
at
be
least
right
that
somehow?
has like some evidence to support it,
Do you think that
just
could
off the
still be
fact that she
right?
was from other communities. I mean, like, I would be surprised if through all the foster homes she's ever been in, which
Mhm,
implies that she's been through at
mhm,
least a couple,
mhm.
that she never went to one that had at least a medium to high amount of humans in it, like at least a mixed raced community, you know?
A medium to high amount of humans. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough. Honestly, that is true. There is, I guess some people saw this as Susie has no home, kinda. Like some people said, like she probably ran away or falls under
right.
the idea of bad home life. Like some people kind of consider this the same as bad home life theory.
I guess, but it seems pretty like explicit that it's just like Susie is homeless. Like I don't know how else to interpret the words written. It's like, right, Susie has no home theory.
Well, I guess people like it. There's not much we can do about it.
Uh,
I can see why.
like if this was like a middle one where it's had a
Hmm.
lot of 4, 5s, and 6s, I could
Hmm.
understand. But the majority are like 7, 8s, and 9. You know?
Yeah. There are also some people giving it a little more five, but yeah.
Yeah.
As one person said, like I said earlier, confusing but super moving narratively, maybe. I guess maybe. But whatever. So this next one, this one's a little interesting. Susie is half human. Okay, so Susie has like an unused bleeding sprite in chapter 2. And she also thinks that everyone can bleed. Like she says that in chapter 1. But then you also have like Monster Kid at the apartments.
Yeah, the one rabbit NBC in one of the apartments. They're like,
Mhm.
how does it feel to be
Uh,
made out of blood?
Yeah, like that's strange. She's also not as good as magic as Noelle and Birdley. In like with the human community ones, like we mentioned there, she feels the need to like embrace that she's a monster, which is why she's like aggressive all the time. So she's trying to brush off her human side and such, or whatever.
Yeah.
But as we can see here, this theory was not really that well liked at all.
No.
It is kind of a
Um,
weird leap and kind of like a jump the shark type plot beat to just include,
y-
right?
maybe. I don't know. Personally, I like this theory, but I don't necessarily like love it. At very
Okay.
least, I don't like hate it.
Okay.
I don't remember what I gave it, but I probably would have given it like a 4 or 5, maybe
Okay.
a 6.
I gave it a 1.
I do like, because this theory basically just stems from a fan fiction,
Yeah, that
essentially.
too. Yeah, by
'Cause,
Lynx Griffin. They made
yeah,
like
there's
other
like a
fan
Lynx
fictions
Griffin
like
comic
yeah.
about it and stuff. It's a good
Yeah.
comic. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. They made other
Um,
comics too, like Paper Trail.
and
They're
this
really good.
theory, yeah, and this theory, it's gotten like more popular, right? I
Yes.
would say as the new chapters came out with the Susie bleeding moment in chapter
Yeah,
4, because
which
blood
is
lore is still
strange.
being debated, right? Which now is just an
Yay.
argument of like, is Susie half human or do just monsters actually have blood,
I
right?
think it, I just prefer it to be monsters bleeding. But it is kind of I think it is pretty interesting that this theory of all
Yeah.
things is being brought back into discussion, I guess. But
Um,
I think it's more
Another
likely.
potential
Nope.
point with it
Hmm.
is in regards to the idea of like the whole like love finds its way to the girl, the
Hmm.
possibility of us playing as Susie with her
Hmm.
absorbing the human soul, that could be relevant if she's half human.
Hmm.
That might actually end up being a plot point potentially if this theory is actually true. You know,
I guess that could work.
like that could theoretically be relevant,
Mhm.
or it could theoretically be not relevant at all. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I also wrote in my notes, like, just kind of vaguely, just trying to be vague here with this point, but since she's half human, she has the ability to resist someone else with meta powers because she has, like, meta powers in her blood or something, because humans also have that meta roll or something, so we gotta keep it
Honestly, that
consistent.
feels a little silly.
I'm trying to make sense of a theory I'm less favorable on, but
Yeah,
I think your point makes more sense there. That's reasonable to me.
part of the reason why this theory has become more popular is because people arguing with the blood discussion, right?
Yeah.
Of like, do monsters bleed? Do monsters have blood? And then they use Susie is half human as like an argument within that discussion and that theory space.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, looking at what some of the people said about this theory back then, needlessly confusing and weird version of Susie is from a human community. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Florida man has a kid with alligator, and she's cool as hell. I hate the mental image of a dinosaur and human procreating. Yeah, these people, man. I guess this is kind of an interesting thing to bring up, but yeah, people brought up that the unused sprite was unused, so it couldn't be used as evidence. Unused content shouldn't be evidence for anything that isn't meta.
Yeah, it's true, but now we have a used bleeding sprite from
Yeah,
Susie.
now we have
that changes
no.
everything.
No. It's not real. She's not bleeding.
It was ketchup,
It
clearly.
was ketchup. It was ketchup. It was ketchup.
She just wiped some ketchup on Ralph's face. There was ketchup on the prophecy panel that she punched.
Hell yeah. Right? Kris likes Susie romantically. So this is like this is like a T theory interpretation. You have those character T's from chapter 2 that heals the characters accordingly to, or what character T it is. And if you give like a Susie T to Kris, it heals them a lot, and they have like a...
It heals them 120, which is the highest amount for
Yeah,
any
and
other character.
and it's like stop looking at me. And
Although it's important to point out that Susie T heals Noelle 400 points.
Yeah. I mean, besides that, we also have also the fact that Kris seems to care about Susie a lot, like as a friend, and people have drawn those connections to be like romantic. I mean, I don't really care if this is true, but they can just be some friends. And a lot of people who took the survey said the same thing. And one thing that was brought up was that, like, this is shipping. One person said, this isn't a theory. This is shipping. They are separate. This is like shipping bleeding into theorizing.
Shipping and theorizing can bleed into each other if you're trying to make the argument that this will be a canon relationship within the actual story.
Yeah.
And not just like fan fiction, Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there was especially, I would say, definitely more stuff pointing towards it in the new chapters.
Yeah, that is true. I guess a little bit, like those expressions that Kris
rules
made.
card calling Kris and Susie a battle throuple, and just all the stuff Kris and Susie does together, especially in the ending of the Titan fight, where Chris's soul, which is a heart, goes between the two of them, and then so it's not like Toby isn't actively basically ship teasing every possible ship combination in this entire game,
we also have like Kris blushing at like giving Susie the knife before she makes a fountain. So that is interesting. It's not dead, this theory, weirdly enough. But people do say stuff like everything that has to do with romance is boring and cringe. And even with like looking at the ratings, it's very in the middle. It's also kind of flat, and you also have some people being like 1 out of 10 because
a lot of high spikes of 1 out of 10s.
Yeah, also in the middle, but some people want to keep it separate. So some people want to keep the shipping and theorizing separate. Some people don't really care about the ship. And then you also have like there are gonna be counter ships. You have Susel. That was brought up by some people, so that's gonna affect the rating.
Yeah.
People who are like invested in other ships more are gonna.
Yeah, it seems kind of like Susie likes both Noelle and Kris about an even amount, and then Noelle really likes Susie, But it seems like Kris and Susie kind of like each other more just as friends, but then also
Yeah.
Susie towards Noelle. It's hard to say after chapter 4 because it definitely feels like they've gone closer and more romantic. But then it also
Yeah.
feels like Kris and Susie also got at least a bit more romantic, or at least a bit closer as friends.
Yeah, very close as friends.
But also we kind of
Even
also
with
know
all-
that what's going to end up happening is we're going to get the lie revealed moment,
Yeah.
and Susie's going to crash out against Kris when it's revealed that Kris
Yeah.
was actually, working with Des as the knight the whole time.
Yeah.
And they were lying to her, and also being possessed by a fucking higher dimensional being the whole time
Yeah.
as well.
Well, it could be Papyrus. You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much else to say here. Some people also said that it is a good ship, but that it probably won't be canon. But whatever.
I
So-
kind of feel like no ship will end up being canon. It's just going to keep ship teasing, except for Suzelle, which is just like doomed Yuri, but we'll get to that
Yeah.
later.
Wait a minute. This is kind of a
Anything
Good
else
point.
you want to say?
yeah.
on this?
Like Toby kind of teasing with shipping and stuff, having there be like a toxic ship in the weird route between like Kris and like a forced relationship between Kris and Noelle. It kind of
Yes.
is like a sort of commentary on like shipping and stuff in a way. So
Yes.
I guess it's
I think it's
kind of
potentially that.
so I guess it's like, I don't know, maybe setting up for more of that in some way or whatever. I've seen some people bring that up. So I just wanted to mention that here too.
Okay.
So some final words on this category is that this category didn't have like that many theories, but that's not to say that Susie isn't an interesting character. People said stuff like, Susie's the best character, Toby writes, and Susie is cool. You also have some people showing concern for whatever she's going through with like some of the text responses people sent.
Yeah.
Which
And there
is
was
nice.
definitely some other Susie theories that could have been included on the survey
Yeah.
and just didn't really make it on it. Like Susie,
Yeah.
for example, getting better at magic, healing magic
Mhm.
specifically, which was a theory before the new chapters came out and was correct.
Yes.
And
I like that one.
like
I just
personally
kinda-
for me, I thought that was going to happen in chapter 5 and that Susie would become like a paladin and stuff. It ended up doing it in chapter 4. It kind of
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
feels like some of my theories regarding the characters and their arcs, I kind of just got the chapters reversed, where it's like
Mhm.
stuff happens sooner than I thought it would, or
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it's going to still happen, but just later than I thought it would, you know?
Mhm. Well, that was Susie.
And that was it for those theories, just within that topic. If you're interested in seeing more from the survey, then check out the videos from specific categories already out within the playlist, or subscribe for more of these. Or you can subscribe for our personalities. I guess that's possible too. Who wouldn't want more of this goat? I already have enough of him. Well, that's it for me. Check out my Patreon, my Ko-Fi, my other art like music, or Chestnut's channel. He also makes videos. Okay, see you later. Bye.